Hello and welcome everybody. If you aren't already aware, I am working on a boomer shooter Metroidvania platformer where you play as an angel who is going down into hell to find a human they were watching over when they were a guardian angel. Today we're going to be talking about some cool stuff, like a new sidestep I made. It's a new movement mechanic that you can use to dodge out of the way of melee attacks. I added a new character named Corin. He's like a disheveled knight character that's trying to get into heaven, and you get to learn a little bit more about the afterlife and purgatory in this world. I added a new place that you can upgrade your prayers at. I made some UI changes. I solved a lot of UI related issues. I also made a huge laundry list of bugs that I ended up tackling, and most of them are done. And now I'm currently working on a new arena for Ariel, which is the final boss of the demo and the third boss in the game overall. So as I was developing the game, I started to notice that it was kind of difficult to deal with melee attacks because there really isn't a way to get out of the way. You can kind of time a shotgun jump or just like moving your positioning away from the strike, but it's very difficult on certain enemies with large hitbox. So for the longest time I didn't want to add a dash because I didn't want to be like too similar to like Doom Eternal or Ultra Kill that has a kind of thing. I know like dash games are like in every game nowadays, so I kind of wanted to avoid doing that. So I decided to do a sidestep mechanic that you'll be able to unlock, kind of like the parry. And for now I just put that in the forest area, and I might move it later, but I think that's when you're kind of starting to need some kind of mechanic like that. Like Ariel has a melee strike she can strike you with her branches at, and it's very difficult to avoid if you don't have something like a dodge. I was also a little bit worried that people would use this dodge to break out of the level too much, but I made it so you can't jump while sidestepping, so I think it's a good balance I have right now. I might even play around with it later to expand on the movement options you have with it. I think the only thing I'm missing now is maybe like a slowdown effect when you successfully dodge an attack, and also a UI element that shows you when your dash cooldown is over. After that I think it should be working pretty well. Moving on to my new character, I was very happy with how he turned out. I like his design a lot. I think I might tweak his helmet a little bit, but I think he gets across what I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to go for like a kind of like disheveled Viking or knight that's just down on his luck. And you can talk to him once you get to the bridge. There's a dialogue where he's chatting with a guard in heaven, trying to figure out how much longer he needs to be punished for his sins when he was alive. And he's already been at it for quite a long time. With this character, I am kind of laying the foundation down for NPC questlines, because his is kind of the first one that I implemented so far. He directs you to go into Purgatory and tells you to meet him there, and there he'll maybe consider joining you at the temple or the hub world. I also tried to change the dialogue system a little bit to emphasize when certain characters are like speaking under their breath or like saying something a little bit quietly. I decided to make it so the text is a little bit grayed out and like just a little harder to read, so it makes like they're trying to be a little more stealthy with their language. And I think it's particularly useful in this cutscene. I'm also trying to just expand on the world of the game and make it seem as full of life as possible before I release the demo. I'm adding certain dialogue prompts for Chippy, your bird companion, and certain just random angels you can find around the world that have something to say. Made a bunch of changes to the UI as well. I polished up a bunch of the animations that were playing. A lot of the animations tended to play at the same time when you did certain button combinations, and it would often just soft lock you. And I think I got rid of most of those issues. I also limited the amount of pure white in the UI, so now most of what was previously white is now like a more off-white color, which I think is a little bit easier on the eyes and just a little prettier to look at. I'm also currently working on a new arena for Ariel. Previously it was very in the open. It was essentially just like a big lake in the middle of the forest that you had to run across. And there were certain platforms that you could stand on and get good vantage points on her, but it just felt a little awkward. It was just way too open of an arena for how small of a boss she is, like small physically. So she took up a very small amount of space in the arena, so it's just kind of odd to look at. Now I think it just works a lot better because everything's a lot more dense, and I'm also trying to give it more of a unique look compared to the rest of the forest. It's going to be like an overhanging part of the forest, so I'm trying to make it look kind of like a canopy that's overhanging a lake, and it's a lot more dense with trees, so it forces you to be a lot closer to her when you're fighting her. And the new sidestep comes in very handy with this boss now, because when you get close to her, she'll do a swipe with you with her branchy arms, and it's real easy to jump out of the way now. The only thing I'm not really too sure about with the sidestep is I'm not sure if it should also dodge ranged attacks, because I kind of designed it specifically with melee attacks in mind, and I figured I don't want to make the parry action just obsolete, because I think it's very fun to get a parry and charge up your weapons and get a nice big heavy damage attack off of that. So I want to encourage that. I could maybe add like an artifact you can equip that allows you to use the sidestep to also dodge ranged attacks, but I'm not sure if that would be the best approach. I would love to get your opinion on this, so let me know. I also added some musical tunes that play in certain areas of the game. A lot of them are probably placeholder songs. I'm still waiting for my friends to work on some new music for the game, but I think they might be good enough for the demo. I don't know. I'll think about it. But there's music now. Awesome. So because I have my Steam page released now, I thought it would be a good time to mention on here that I have a Discord channel now for the game. So if you would like to learn more behind the scenes stuff, feel free to join. I would love if you stop by and say hello and chat with me about my game or anything really. I'll put a link in the description to the Discord page. Well, I think that's about it for this devlog. There's a lot of little stuff that I didn't mention. This month has mostly been about fixing a lot of small issues. I had a huge list on Obsidian that I kept whacking at throughout the month, and I got rid of most of them. I'm still staring at about 10 bugs that I discovered, but I'm sure I'll have even more once I release the demo and give it to my friends to playtest. And speaking of that, I got some Steam keys for my friends that I do want to give to them very soon to get more playtesters on it. More on that in the next video, probably. But yes, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I would love to see you on the Discord. That is it for this video, and thank you so much for watching.